Canadian siblings Drew and Jonathan Scott made their HGTV debut in 2011. Their series, Property Brothers, combined real estate and home renovation, with real estate expert Drew helping aspiring homeowners find a promising fixer-upper to purchase, with contractor Jonathan then spearheading the reno that ultimately transformed each place into a dream home. That combo proved to be a winning one. Property Brothers quickly became one of the network's biggest hits, resulting in the brothers experiencing further success with various other series for the network, ranging from the spin-off Property Brothers, Forever Home, to the star-studded Celebrity IOU. June 2024 brings fans the brothers' latest show, Backed by the Bros, which will send the Scotts in a whole new direction. This time, they assist wannabe landlords in the midst of renovation projects on income properties that have taken unfortunate turns. The Scotts, however, cede complete control of the project to those investors, while they offer their advice and vast knowledge gleaned from the hundreds of renovations they've undertaken. It's the entrepreneurs who put up the money and have the final say. We want to help investors make the best choice possible, and we want to educate them along the way on what we've learned over the years, said Drew in a press release. In all their various HGTV shows, Drew and Jonathan Scott have been in charge of the process every step along the way. Not so in Backed by the Bros, though. This time, the Scotts hand the keys to the investors they've chosen to assist. Sure, they'll offer their guidance and share advice, but when it comes to making the final decisions, that responsibility lies solely with the investors themselves. We are here to support, not take the reins, Drew explained in the aforementioned press release. Usually, Jonathan and I are totally in charge and calling the shots, Drew explained in an interview with HGTV. On Backed by the Bros, we can give suggestions and our best advice, but it's really up to the investors to decide if they're going to take it. For example, we can suggest they use our contractors, but if they want to use their own crew, that's their choice. Of course, ignoring the Property Brothers Council can come with some serious consequences. These are real investors we're working with, Jonathan added. And not all of these stories are going to go off without a hitch. Not being in charge of the projects documented in Backed by the Bros wasn't an easy pill to swallow for the Scott brothers. In fact, the show's whole premise is quite outside the realm of how they'd usually operated. It's hard not to be in the driver's seat, Drew Scott told HGTV, emphasizing how unique their new show is compared to all their others. It's completely different from any show we've done before. During a visit with NBC's Today, the brothers promised fans of Property Brothers and their other shows that they were in for a whole new experience with Backed by the Bros. You've never seen a show like this on HGTV, Jonathan Scott declared, because these people are literally at the brink where they're going to lose everything, he added, referring to one couple who'd sunk their entire retirement fund and all the college savings funds for their 5 kids into their risky venture. We're coming in to try to rescue them, but still some of them don't want to listen. Speaking with HGTV, Jonathan pointed out that we're used to having everything our way, so it's practice and trusting the process. Are we control freaks? Drew contended that they probably were, a shared personality trait that made Backed by the Bros all the more nerve-wracking for them. I know I am, Drew admitted, because it's hard to watch from the sidelines. Another element of Backed by the Pros that sets it apart from the Scotts' other HGTV shows is that the property itself isn't necessarily their primary consideration, which is somewhat ironic for a dynamic duo colloquially known as the Property Brothers. It's not just about the property, Jonathan Scott told HGTV. We're looking for the right investors too. Those are people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and get stuff done. We want to put our energy into someone who's going to make it happen and not just expect us to lead the charge and do the dirty work. That said, the domicile itself still factors heavily into their decision about which project to undertake and which investors they'll hitch their wagon to. As Drew Scott pointed out, if they cannot envision the property's potential and see a sensible, viable target awaiting at the finish line, they will likely take a pass and move on to the next opportunity. If the house needs a ton of work and we just don't see how the investor's budget is going to make that happen, we're probably not going to back it, he explained. The property investors selected by Property Brothers stars Drew and Jonathan Scott have been struggling with their respective projects, putting in their own money, but experiencing setbacks in bringing their visions to life. For some, this has meant racking up debt or shoveling all their savings into what seems to be a bottomless money pit. For the brothers, the ability to help them reverse the investors' fortunes doesn't just make for great reality TV drama, but it can quite literally change their lives. Helping families has always been our #1 goal and motivator, Jonathan explained to HGTV. This was a great opportunity to reach out to people who are putting themselves out there and trying to make money for their families. Drew concurred, noting that getting these projects back on track can have some tangible benefits for the investors when it comes to improving their situations. If they can turn these projects around, they can be real moneymakers, he said. Then, these investors can get out of debt, replenish their savings, or create some wealth for their families. The possibilities are pretty amazing. Clearly, the experience that Property Brothers Jonathan and Drew Scott bring to Backed by the Bros should give pause to any of the investors they work with on the show, given the breadth of experience they've amassed over all those HGTV episodes, to say nothing of their untelevised home renovation efforts. And while that expertise is nothing to sneeze at, that's certainly not the only thing they can offer the lucky folks they've chosen to advise in the series. We give them access to a ton of resources they wouldn't have, like covering designers for them or letting them shop our warehouses and getting things like appliances and furniture for free or really cheap. Drew explained in their interview with HGTV, noting how being able to work with the suppliers with whom they've established relationships can save them some serious money. Plus, of course, they get our infinite wisdom, which is priceless. Jonathan jokingly added, pointing out that they can help the investors steer around the same mistakes they've made in the past. If we can offer our time and mentorship and hopefully help these investors avoid major headaches that are going to cost them, then we've done our jobs, he said. The investors chosen by Drew and Jonathan Scott for their new show, Backed by the Bros, have a lot riding on the eventual success of their projects. Many are deeply in debt, have made huge sacrifices, financial and otherwise, and desperately need their renovations to be completed to recoup the money that they've pumped in. The stakes for the Property Brothers stars are understandably lower, given that it's not their money involved. That said, the Scott brothers admit they became deeply invested in the projects they advised. We have a lot on the line too, Jonathan Scott explained to HGTV. Our time, reputation, and resources, which are not unlimited, added Drew. That's particularly true in the series' first episode, which finds the Scotts swooping in on a North Hollywood renovation that's significantly over budget, to the tune of $100,000 plus, yet is nowhere near completed. Utilizing the lessons they've learned, they're eager to pass on that hard-earned experience to their proteges. We want to help investors make the best choice possible, and we want to educate them along the way on what we've learned over the years, said Drew. Since becoming public figures, Property Brothers stars Jonathan and Drew Scott have rarely encountered controversy during their years on HGTV. However, the siblings unexpectedly stirred some up with Back to the Bros before a single episode even made it to television, strangely enough. Viewers of their previous shows haven't been entirely convinced of the Scotts' claims that Backed by the Bros is vastly different from those shows and unlike anything viewers have seen them do before. Those complaints surfaced on social media. They basically do the same show just with a different name except for the celebrity one. One HGTV viewer complained on X, formerly Twitter. Meanwhile, other HGTV viewers criticized the Property Brothers stars for launching yet another show on the network. complaining that they already appeared in more than their fair share of series. Just wondering, do they own HGTV enough already? Read one tweet, and another expressed a similar sentiment, adding, "You guys already have more than enough shows, give others people a chance."